All right, and we are live. Hello, everybody. Because this is scheduled in advance, we already have some people here. So I'm just gonna start talking by saying hello and welcome. Today we do have a very special guest. We have Brent from Speak English with This Guy. I always forget if it's American English with this guy or Speak English with this guy.
I've had a couple names, so that's why the confusion.
Okay, got it. So anyways, yeah, we're both here. This is our first time talking. If anyone doesn't know this, we comment on each other's Facebook pages sometimes, but we've never actually met. So you guys are lucky. You're gonna see us have just a normal conversation where two American guys get to know each other. Anything you'd like to start off by saying, Brent?
Yeah, well, first of all, Teacher Mike, thank you so much for having me as a guest. It's a real honor. I've been watching you for a couple years, and it seems like we have very similar teaching styles. We're both American, so that helps. We're both guys, so that helps. But I really like your delivery. You're always very clear. I feel that I can kind of rush sometimes, so I watch you to work on my enunciation, just being very clear. So I think you do a great job of that. And I'm super interested to hear about your background because, as I understand, you've been living in other parts of the world, which I'm envious of.
Well, first of all, thank you. I really appreciate that. And yeah, I agree. Our styles are quite similar in many ways. And yeah, I have some experience living abroad, although I'm not like a world traveler. I lived in Thailand because that's where I was working. Most people who go to Southeast Asia travel around Southeast Asia. I didn't really do that. I just stayed in one place.
So what were your how long were you in Thailand?
10 years.
Wow.
The first time I went there, I was 16. I really liked it. I don't know if it's because I really liked Thailand or if it's just because I was 16 and it was my first time going abroad without my parents. So maybe I ended up in Thailand just because it was the first country I went to, and maybe I ended up there just because it is really special. Probably a combination.
Gotcha. And the first time I ever flew, because as I understand, you are living in Maryland right now.
Mhm.
Right. And I grew up in New England, so Maine, the northeast of the United States. But the first time I got out of New England, I flew into Baltimore. Flew
Ah,
into actually Washington D.C., I think it was. Yeah, to visit my friend who was at Georgetown, and I had another friend at GW, a couple colleges in the area. And I don't think I've told you this, but I went to the University of Maryland.
oh, really?
Yeah, the Terrapins. I did transfer uh, after my first semester, but I did really like Maryland.
Oh, okay. So, how long? Oh, you said after your first semester. Okay, so not very
Yeah,
long.
no, I
Okay.
met a girl and then I transferred to another school. But
Okay, so you liked Maryland, but you didn't like Maryland that much.
well, I liked the girl better.
Exactly.
So so I went to Alabama, and so
Okay. Wow.
she's my
Alabama.
wife now. So I think it worked out.
Yeah, it sounds like that worked out for you. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, Alabama, that's quite different from Maryland. Did you stay in Alabama after graduating or?
I did, yeah. So I got my teaching degree at Alabama, and I taught in the state of Alabama for 1 year. But my wife and I thought we might have children one day, and we wanted to move closer to my family. So we did eventually move back up to Maine. But I was there for about 7 years and really liked it. It's a beautiful part of the country and some of the best food you'll ever eat.
Okay. For I guess most of our audience probably doesn't know, how is Alabama kind of different from Maine or from Maryland?
Yeah. How about this? Do you consider Maryland the North or do you consider Maryland the South?
I don't consider it either one. Um,
Mid Atlantic.
Maryland, yeah, Maryland's kind of right there in the middle. People from New York say that we're from the South. People from the South say that we're from the North. If I go to Southern Maryland, it feels a little bit like the South. Like I went to college in St. Mary's County, which is very Southern Maryland. That feels more like the South. But Baltimore, Washington, D.C. area does not feel like the South to me.
Yeah, I agree. And Washington, D.C. is one of the most diverse places in the country and maybe even the world. So, yeah, it does have a in between kind of feel.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't really feel like either one. Do you want to? So we're talking, but let's take a minute to just. I'm gonna go into the comments for a minute, just so people know we're not completely ignoring them.
Yeah, that'd
Uh,
be great. See, a lot of people are talking about where they're from, which is always fun to read. Chad is in the house.
yeah, Chad, Poland, Vietnam, Lebanon, Mexico,
Belarus.
Pakistan, Thailand. Hello,
How do you say hello in Thai?
Sawadee.
Sawatdee.
Yeah, and then as a man, you would add this word "krep" at the end. Um, Thai is an interesting language because in some languages, there's words that are like, use this word when you talk to a man, use this word when you talk to a woman. But in Thai, when you want to be polite, you add this word to the end. And it's that word depends on whether you are a man or a woman. So for
Interesting.
every sentence that a man says, they'll probably add the word krup at the end. So a full hello would be sawatdee krup.
Sawatdee krap.
Yeah, very
Is
good.
that all right? All right. Just for hello, huh? There's no like simple hey, hi.
You can just do sawatdee,
Okay.
but I feel like it's not very common. That's more something that they put on TV shows when they're translating English.
Gotcha.
When someone says like, "Hey, John," they're like, "Sawatdee, John."
Love it, man. I wish I had spoken another language like you do. I'm trying. Siri's in the house.
Have you what language did you study in high school? Obviously, you probably wouldn't speak it, but
Right.
what did you study?
Yeah, it was French. Where I live, there were a lot of people in the early 1900s that came down from Canada. So, unfortunately, that generation is no longer around. But when I was young, many of my friends' grandparents spoke French. So I took French in school. But like you said, I can't really speak it. But I've been studying Italian for the last 4 years, so I feel like I can read it pretty well. It's just, it's so hard. As everyone watching knows, it's one thing to understand the language, it's another thing to actually speak it. So,
And, have you found many opportunities to practice speaking it? Is that something that you have time and energy to do?
no, which is why I've started learning Portuguese for the last 3 or 4 months. Many of my students, I do teach ELL. This is my first year of teaching ELL, or you might hear it called MLL now in the United States. But many of my students are from Angola, so they're Portuguese speakers.
Oh.
So I've actually, since school started, I've been practicing speaking my Portuguese, and my students laugh at me, but they will correct me. It's been really rewarding. It's been fun to teach them, but they can also teach me a little bit.
So does your area have a, I guess, what is it, a large population of maybe immigrants from Angola right now?
Yeah, exactly. 20 years ago, there were about probably 18 to 20% of my area were Somali.
Hmm, yeah.
And so most of the students we have at school who are Somali, they speak perfect English because they were born here. And now, lately, Angola has been the most popular country, followed by Ukraine. We have some Ukrainian students. We just got a new student from Honduras. We did have two students from Syria. I saw Syria in the chat, but they were only with us for like a week and then they moved to more permanent housing.
Okay.
Yeah, so my school is probably 10 to 15%.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah, probably newcomers or newcomers within the last 3 or 4 years.
That's a I'm not that familiar with schools in the United States. That sounds like a large percentage of English learners to me, but is it
It
is it?
it is, especially for Maine, where I live, the state I live. Yeah, if you go outside the area that I live in, it'll probably be almost zero. So, yeah, I live in kind of a unique place in Maine where we do get a fair amount of newcomers.
What is you might have already said this and I forget. What is the area in Maine?
Well, I'm just north of Portland. So I think most Americans will know the city of Portland. Probably most people outside of the United States won't, but it is the most populous city in Maine. So I live just about 30 miles north of that. But Portland's great.
And
Have you
for
have,
I
have you ever?
haven't, for anyone who doesn't know, there's 2 Portlands. So there's Portland, Maine, and there's Portland, Oregon. He's talking about Portland, Maine.
Yeah, most people will automatically think of the other Portland on the West Coast.
But no,
Um,
I've never really been to Maine, or never really, never at all. I've never been to Maine. The only place really northern that I've been is Michigan. My family is kind of from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan,
Interesting.
so we spend time up there sometimes.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm getting lessons together for this week. We will be talking about Michigan and the UP. The UP, right? Do you call it the UP
Yeah, the
sometimes?
UP.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we usually call it. Why are you talking about the UP
We're reading a news article. It's a crazy news article, but this little girl got lost in the woods.
with her dogs?
She Yes, exactly. Yeah, she's like 2 years old. And the headline is, I think she's using her dog as a pillow. So we're going to read one of those articles, and I thought it would be kind of fun.
Okay, yeah, I found that article 2 days ago. I almost used it yesterday morning in a private lesson, but it was a little bit too short for what I wanted to do. But okay, so you know the UP.
And I did see Afghanistan is in the house. I do have two students from Afghanistan.
Yeah, there
And
are a lot of people in the US from Afghanistan. I think recently in the area where I live, we've got like, I think a couple thousand recent immigrants in the last year. Um, so yeah, not surprising. I think probably about more than 30,000 of the people who follow my page are actually from Afghanistan.
no way.
It
Wow.
is one of the first countries that started growing outside of Southeast Asia on my page.
Interesting. And that is one country I'm going to start traveling more next year. I would love to go to Afghanistan. I think it's great to be a guest in Afghanistan.
Looks really interesting.
I watch a lot of YouTubers who go, and just the people just seem so kind to
Okay.
guests.
Have you seen the channel I Roam Alone?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't have because it's a Thai YouTuber. Um, However, she does have English subtitles and she speaks English a lot because when she's traveling, she speaks English and she speaks English well. But she did one pretty recently where she went to Afghanistan, and yeah, the people just seem so nice.
Interesting. Yeah, I would love to. What is? I'll rewatch this, but I roam alone. I roam alone.
Yeah, Roam,
Yeah,
Roam, I Roam Alone.
we'll definitely watch her. I've been watching. I can't remember who it is, but it's an. She might be from Scotland actually. She's in Afghanistan now, or at least she's releasing videos from Afghanistan. And I think it's interesting to see a woman traveling alone in Afghanistan, because we hear so much about, women can't go out on the streets, but yet in her videos there are women on the streets. So
Yeah, we definitely see different things in the media than we see in real, people's experiences. So
100%.
that was the other thing was, in Western media, a lot of what we hear about Ethiopia is always poverty and starvation. But when Ira Malone went to Ethiopia, you see it's not all just dry, dry land. It's actually very beautiful.
Absolutely. I love this channel called Bald and Bankrupt, and they went to Ethiopia with a couple friends, and it was like actually a monsoon. Like the road was closed because there was so much rain. So quite the opposite of what we see in the United States.
Yeah. And you said bald and bankrupt?
Yeah, it's an acquired taste, but I love them. I love them.
They seem to like to oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, somebody said, Marcus said, I guess he's from Canada. So I don't know if they're talking about me, but I do get that quite a bit that I sound maybe Canadian because I'm about 2 hours from the Canadian border. So I don't, what do you think, Mike? Do I have a bit of a Canadian kind of accent?
In my opinion, I don't think so. But at the same time, I worked with a Canadian guy for a few years, and I never thought he had a Canadian accent either. So I guess
Gotcha.
maybe I don't really know how a Canadian accent is different from an American accent unless it's very strong or very unique.
Right. If everybody is ending their sentences with like a, then that's a giveaway. And I think the Upper Peninsula in Michigan has almost like a Canadian accent too, right?
Oh yeah, oh
Yeah.
yeah. Say stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
so my dad's family, though a lot of them still live up there. So they came from Finland, and there's a very large Finnish population in the UP.
Very cool.
But yeah, we call them Yoopers. Yoopers are people from the Upper Peninsula, and they do have a very unique accent that sounds a bit Canadian and can be very difficult to understand. Like my great uncles, I haven't actually seen them since I was a little kid, but it would be really difficult for most of my followers to understand anything that they say.
Yeah. And I don't know about you, but when I am on camera, I do my best to try to get rid of any accent I might have. So maybe it seeps through every so often.
Yeah, for me, you hear the accent in specific words sometimes, but living abroad for 10 years, you don't lose your accent by living abroad. However, when your job is to speak English clearly for like 6 to 9 hours a day, you start to speak English clearly. So,
Right. How about this? What if I asked you? I'm going to ask you two questions,
all
and
right.
this will see like this is my idea of what somebody in the mid Atlantic might speak like, or this might be a good indication they are from the mid Atlantic. Um, how would you say the H2O thing that we drink, the clear liquid thing?
Water.
Okay, okay, that's because I've heard some people water, but
Water. Um,
that's not you.
Not me, no. I'm trying to think of if it would be different in Baltimore.
Oh,
I don't know. I think it's the same.
okay.
Yeah, I say water. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, I say yeah. I think we say it very similarly. Water. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
water.
I've heard water from the Mid Atlantic. How
Water.
about the fizzy kind of Coca Cola stuff? What do you call that?
I call that soda.
Okay, you don't call it pop.
No, my cousins call it pop, and the first time my cousin ever said, "Hey, Mike, can you go get the pop?" I thought he said, "Go get the pot."
Oh whoa.
And, if it's when someone says something like that, it doesn't mean pot, like, for cooking. Pot
Right.
is a slang word for marijuana. So I thought my cousin was saying, "Go get the marijuana," and they were
Jeez.
actually saying, "Go get the soda," because I didn't know that they used the word "pop," and I was like, "Huh? Really? What?" And then they said, like, "Coca-Cola." Like, "Oh, okay, okay, good."
You thought you were attending a different kind of party, huh?
Yeah.
Oof. Yeah,
That
just
was my
seeing the
first experience with,
hey, I see Filippo in the chat. I know him. He's from Italy. The chat is going by very quickly.
yeah. I see Veronica also from Italy. Hello, and Nabin from Nepal, Morocco.
Oh, it looks like Freddie says that we don't have a big difference in accent.
I don't think so. I think we also both kind of speak with the little bit, less excited, slower kind of, "Yeah, yeah, and then yeah." So, very
Exactly.
similar.
Exactly. So, asking about Thailand, how about this? Do you think you will go back to Thailand in the near future?
I do not think that, I will live in Thailand in the near future, but we definitely will go back for at least a few weeks or a few months, hopefully sometime in the next year or 2.
Oh, very nice.
I would like to be able, assuming that I stay in the United States permanently, I would like to be able to go to Thailand at least every other year, because that is where my wife's family is.
Oh, very nice. That's difficult. My wife is from Alabama, so having family in other places can be difficult. But luckily, we can get there within a day pretty easily, and it's not too expensive. But that's a commitment when you go to Thailand. What, a minimum of what, 20 hours to get there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
minimum 20, and, yeah, so most flights are going to be between, like, 20 hours and 50 minutes to, like, 32 hours, which I don't wanna do those ones anymore. Those are, like, 3 or 4 flights. The first time I went there, it was, like, DC to New York to Los Angeles to Tokyo, to Taipei, to Singapore, to Bangkok, or something like that,
Oh my gosh.
because I was on a program and they were giving that we were traveling on Singapore Airlines, which is nice, but in order to get Singapore Airlines, they booked the, like, cheapest possible routes, so it was
And
bouncing all around.
and so with all of those connections, that what we would call it in English, the connecting flights, did you ever miss a flight? It seems like a lot could go wrong.
A lot could have gone wrong, especially because it was, like, traveling with about 50 teenagers.
Wow.
But, no, we made everything. It was, yeah, it worked out.
Were you responsible for those teenagers, or did they just happen to be on your flight?
The first 2 times I went to Thailand, I was on basically a travel exchange program.
Okay.
So I was going to Bangkok to do Muay Thai, Thai kickboxing, and then going to the countryside to do volunteer work.
Oh,
So I did that when I was 16 and then again when I was 17. And those times, I was one of the teenagers, we were being escorted by adults. But then when I was 20 and 21, I worked for them and I had to escort those teenagers.
my
And
gosh.
that was an experience.
Because you're only, I mean, I'm sure in those teenagers' eyes, you're just a couple years older than them, an older brother. I'm sure they tried to pull a few things over on you, right?
Yeah, yeah, it was a learning experience, as we would say. But, I think if you act like you know what you're doing and you actually know what you're doing, teenagers will sometimes respect you.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh,
Especially when you get to my age, it's easier because I'm 47, but I would imagine you're a tad bit
I'm
younger.
I am, 34 in November.
No way.
You think I was
Hmm.
older?
No, no. I thought maybe a little younger actually, but I don't know if we should say our birthdays on. But my birthday is also in November,
Okay,
so
yeah, we can
I
talk about
wonder.
it later.
Yeah, I wonder if we share the same birthday. I'm not very good at math, but I think there's a 1 in 30%. 30. We better not talk math unless you're
I'm,
good at it.
um I'm really bad because I don't know how many days are in each month. Like, I didn't know that that was something that people knew. I feel really stupid saying this on a live video, but I'm gonna be honest. I didn't until I moved to Thailand, I didn't know that most people memorized how many days are in each month.
I don't know them either if that makes you feel any better.
Okay, I do feel better.
There's a song or something. I don't know the song, but I know February has 28 days and then the rest have 30 or 31, but I don't know which ones have 31.
Exactly. So in Thailand, everybody knows because the months have a little word on the end, and that word or that final little sound tells you actually how many days there are.
Really?
Yeah. Um,
That's cool.
so Thai people usually know.
Just looking through the chat. 47 years young. Brent is still a teenager. I like Freddie. Thank you so much. Freddie's from France. He's a good
Freddy
guy.
sounds like a nice guy.
We have this radio silence. It's hard to read and speak at the same time.
Oh yeah, it's really hard, but let's take a minute and just check it out, just so people know. It's okay if we have what we call an awkward silence. An awkward silence is when there's a conversation and everyone stops talking and it's very quiet and you start to feel uncomfortable. That's called an awkward silence. So we're going to do an awkward silence for a moment. Maybe the world's first intentional awkward silence as we just want to let you guys know that we are trying to read some of the comments.
Maybe I will speak slowly about awkward silence. Or would you like for there to be awkward silence?
We can take turns awkwardly avoiding the awkward silence, so you can speak slowly, and then when you're
Okay.
done speaking slowly, then I'll speak slowly.
Okay, so there is this movie, one of my favorites, called Pulp Fiction. And there is a line in the movie where it's like when you are comfortable with someone, you can just sit in silence and not feel awkward. But I feel that with my wife, but it can be a little awkward when there is silence.
Yeah. It's funny because another thing is that English learners get very uncomfortable when they can't think of a word.
Mm.
And I want you guys to know that it's okay to stop and think of a word. It's okay to have a long pause. Um, if what you are doing is trying to choose a word, we do that too. Um, if you do it for a really long time, it might be awkward. But if you spend just 10 seconds saying, "What's the word?" Ah, that's it. If you do that, that's normal. That's okay.
Happens to me all the time, more so as I get older. We have that saying, oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. And Larissa also said, she actually said the line in English that we have for memorizing the months or the days of the month. So I
Oh,
guess
what is it?
September, April, and June, November, they have 30. I'll probably forget that though.
Oh, I see that 30 days have September, April, June, and November. All the rest have 31. February has 28 alone, excepting leap year. That's I don't thank you, thank you.
Oh.
I'm still not gonna remember it.
No, I figured, I've gone 47 years without really knowing when the month ends. It's always a nice surprise. Like, oh, hey, new month.
It's funny the things I have remembered versus the things I haven't remembered. Because like I can remember like the ethnic groups in Nigeria based on a song that I learned in high school, just Hausa, Fulani, Yoruba, Igbo. And I can also remember the 50 states in alphabetical order because of a song that I learned in middle school. But I don't know like how many feet are in a mile and stuff like that.
I think it's 5,000 ish. And that's all. That's all. Hey, Sita's here. I know Sita. I'm going to visit actually Sita in April. She lives in Brazil.
Oh,
My
awesome.
wife, yeah, my wife and I are going to Brazil in April.
So, have you said you haven't traveled much abroad much. Have you traveled abroad though ever?
I have. When I was 19, I went to Europe. I did the Europe thing for a month, just a backpack and visiting. I flew into London and went all the way to Helsinki, back to London, and that's about it. But next year, I'll be going to Brazil and Jordan and Dubai, I think.
Wow.
I wanted to sneak into Syria when I was in Jordan, but I don't think that's going to happen.
So Brazil, Jordan, Dubai. You said London and Helsinki. So did you
Yep.
actually spend time in Finland?
Yes, I did. I spent about a week.
Oh,
When I was a senior in high school, an exchange student lived with me from Finland. His name is Jaakko. And I went to visit him for about a week. I was there. I was in Europe for a month, and I spent about a week in Finland. So
okay, interesting.
loved it. It was really nice, really nice. But this was back. Again, I'm bad at math. I'm not sure if you were born, but I went in 1995.
Yeah, so I was 6 years old.
So we might not have had too much fun together if you went on that trip with me.
Probably not.
I probably would have left you in London.
I'm glad you had a good time.
Yeah, it was fun. It was so much fun at 19. So traveling as a teenager like you did to Thailand, just like your eyes were open to so many new things.
What was I gonna ask?
Omran. Also, Omran's in the chat. I might be seeing him. He lives in Dubai, so maybe we'll get some tea when we're in Dubai together.
That would be nice. And
Yeah.
hello, Omran. What was Oh, so you went to Europe when you were 19. You haven't been abroad since then.
No.
Wow.
And my parents said this. They said, it's best that you go now because you may not get a chance to go for 20, 30 years. And that was so true because shortly after that, you go to college and met my wife. And shortly after that, you have children. And so my children are now in their late teens, almost self sufficient. So if I disappear for a week and I come back, they will probably still be fine. So yeah, this is the part of my life where I get to travel.
Okay, nice. I'm glad you get to do that.
Yeah. I don't. If anything is too personal, Mike, don't answer. Maybe there are some things you don't share, but I was just wondering, do you have?
I'll tell you if it's too personal. Yeah.
Yeah, please do, and I will not be offended. But I'm wondering if you have any children of your own. I'm gonna
I
guess no, but
I do not have children.
no.
Um, and yeah, I'm not gonna discuss plans or anything, but
Yeah,
but yeah, fine question. No, I don't have children.
yeah. You still have time. You still have time. My buddy, I was just talking with him last night, and he is 45, and he has two children, one 6 and one 3, and he gets tired. I had my first child at 30. You're a little younger then, but 45. Yeah, we went to trivia last night. We and did some trivia, and he was pretty tired at the end. So was I, but young children. Oh, Sudan's in the house. Love it.
Yeah, a lot of. Do you know if you have many followers in Sudan? I think I have a lot.
Wow. No, I don't believe I do. Let's see. The United States is probably the number one, with it's hard to say with VPN, but number one. Brazil and Russia are 2 and 3.
Wow, so
So
yours is quite different from mine. Um, Interesting, and I think that is probably largely because you kind of started with American English, speak English with this guy, and it was very American from the beginning. Whereas mine was kind of obscure. Who is this guy living in Thailand? Because I started it for Thai people.
interesting. So is Thai your biggest country?
Nope.
No.
Um, and it was until about a month or two ago. Um, Currently, number one is Myanmar
Oh,
with
very cool.
about, I haven't checked in the last week, but probably about 140,000.
Wow, that's a
Um,
good chunk.
Next is the Philippines just passed Thailand. Thailand had always been number one or number two, but now number two is the Philippines and Thailand is number three. But
Interesting.
then after that, it gets very different. We've got like Afghanistan, Morocco, Algeria, Vietnam, and Sudan is maybe not top 10, but somewhere up there.
Wow, interesting.
Um,
I think on Facebook, Madagascar is pretty high for me, maybe in the top 5.
Yeah, I think Madagascar was in my top 10, not anymore, but definitely still a lot. I see someone just asked about Laos, how about
Mm.
Laos? So for my page, Laos was, like, the one of the first countries that followed me because people in Laos can understand Thai. And
Mhm.
in the beginning, I had a lot of Thai translations and I spoke some words in Thai sometimes. And I had pictures of stuff that you would see in Laos and Thailand. So Lao people have followed me from the beginning, but I think maybe they're just on social media less or less interested in learning English, or they just like me less because
Aw,
I don't have that many followers in Laos,
it's
even though they
impossible.
have always been there.
It's impossible to like you less. Hey, there were a couple actually 3 super chats. Evelyn left a super chat. Omron and Filippo.
Thank you for spotting those. I see Filippo's. I don't see the other ones yet.
I wonder, Mike, if you go to the starred comments, do you see?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
you
Thank
can
you.
see
Yeah,
it
I'm
there.
not that used to doing this.
Sorry. Yeah, I
Um,
love StreamYard.
so the three of you, thank you all very much. And Filippo, have you planned to meet in person in the future? We have not planned. We talked about doing this live together, and this is the first time we have talked. So we don't have plans, but we both live in the US, so who knows?
Yeah, it's very easy for me to. I think I can probably travel a little more freely than Mike at this point. So I think I could probably get a connecting flight to Baltimore, stop off there for a little while. So it's possible. It's very possible in
Yeah, so
the
we'll see
near
about it in the
future,
future.
maybe. But you know what? Maybe Mike doesn't want me to visit. So maybe I'm just inviting myself down there, and he's like, "No, I don't want this guy down." And it's fine, Mike. You can say that. I won't be offended. I get that a lot. People
Uh,
don't want
I
me to
think
visit.
I think it would be cool. I think it would be cool, and I think, it would be nice for a lot of people also to see that. I enjoyed seeing you go to visit Bob. The videos you guys did were a lot of fun.
It was so fun to make, and he's coming to Maine next. That's the plan, at least. He's coming to Maine next summer, so it should be fun.
Oh, cool, cool.
Maine's a beautiful state. I do want to brag about my state for a little bit, but
Tell us about it.
yeah, we have some mountains. They're not huge, but as an American, we measure in feet, so they're about 4,000 feet, our biggest ones. And you can go to the mountains in the morning and then go to the ocean in the afternoon. Very easy to do. Our water is more beautiful than it is to actually swim in. It never gets really warm. Children like swimming in the water, but I think once you reach a certain age that you get up to your ankles and you'll be fine. But we have a beautiful rocky coast. We do have some sandy beaches and some of the best seafood in the world. So,
Yeah, that's true, you do have good seafood, okay. I was gonna
but
say it sounds quite similar to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan
oh
until you
really?
said the seafood and the mountains. I don't think there's mountains in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
But Maryland too. And I've been to Maryland and had crab in Maryland, Chesapeake Bay. It amazing. So Maryland's known for their seafood as well.
Maryland is known for their seafood, but, my brother is allergic to shellfish and doesn't like regular fish, so I didn't grow up eating seafood. I never ate seafood until I moved to Thailand.
Oh really?
I'm sure I'd had some seafood, like, I definitely had, like, a tuna sandwich, and I'd tried crabs and stuff, but it wasn't ever in my house.
Yeah. Well, when I was younger, my family we would get lobster a couple times a year. It's still expensive, but Maine is known for lobster. And my parents and my sister would eat lobster. My brother and I would always get a cheese pizza. So we weren't. I didn't appreciate it when I was younger, but I have to be in the right mood. But I do like it. Usually dipped in lots of butter.
Yeah, I feel like lobster isn't something where it's just, "Hey, we're having lobster for dinner, come down and eat it." Like,
No,
no, tell me in advance so I can kind of prepare for this special occasion.
absolutely. Ooh, somebody said Harry. Oh, I know Harry. Harry, he said, I'm a seafood guy. That's a great way in English to say, like, you like a certain type of food. Like, I'm a French fry guy for sure. I'm a seafood guy when I'm in the right mood.
I wanna say I'm a spicy food guy, but that doesn't sound
Oh,
quite correct, does it? I'm a s
no.
I think it needs to be, like, a specific thing, like,
Yes.
I'm a salmon guy.
Yeah. I think we would say like, "Oh, do you like spicy food?" Yeah. The hotter the better. So there is a question I would like to answer in here. Where is it? Oh, somebody asked, and this is pretty awesome. Somebody asked, since I'm from Maine, do people ask about Stephen King quite a bit when they meet me? And that is a common, I didn't know how well known Stephen King is, but Stephen King actually grew up the next town over from where I grew up.
I didn't know he was from Maine.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Yep. So I grew up in a town called Lewiston, Maine. He grew up in a town called Lisbon, Maine. Now he's the age of my father, so I never met him. But I'm actually going out tonight with a friend whose dad and Stephen King were in the same class. So it's kind of
interesting.
kind of crazy. Yeah. Stephen King, yeah, he's my favorite author by far.
Yeah, we've got some famous people from Maryland, trying to think of anyone who went to my schools or anything. I think, Steve Francis, the basketball player,
Oh yeah.
he came to my middle school, I think, or my elementary school to do some assemblies. Um, for anyone who doesn't know, an assembly is what we do in American schools. It's when everybody meets in the big room and we have a big meeting, maybe a show or an announcement or something. That's called an assembly because everyone assembles, meaning they all go to the same place. Um, Sita Bittencourt Cavalho, thank you very much. Thank you for the what is it called? Super chat. Thank you very much.
It is a super chat. Yeah, Sita is very generous, which is why I am taking her and her husband out to dinner sometime in April.
Oh, awesome. How many of your followers have you met in real life?
I think zero. Yeah, zero.
Okay, just you've made plans with quite a few though.
Yeah, just two. Actually, I think I mentioned the two. So definitely Omron and Sita. I think that's it for the foreseeable future. But yeah, I can't wait to get out and travel a little bit. First
Yeah.
time in a long time. Back to Thailand, and
Uh,
you'd mentioned Laos. Is the language that they speak in Laos called Lao?
yeah. Um,
Now, can
they
you
also
under
call the country Lao. They don't pronounce the S on the end.
Interesting.
But
Okay.
I do, because we're speaking.
Okay. So how? So you're pretty fluent in Thai.
Yeah, yeah. I'd say if you do you know the CEFR scale for languages? I'd say
Yes.
I'm about somewhere between B1, B2, but comprehension closer to C1.
That's all you need, right? Wow, that's impressive. So can you understand if somebody was speaking Lao? Was it
Um, Not everything. Um, and sorry if my computer is echoing now.
sounds good to me?
Okay, okay. So can I understand if someone is speaking Lao? Basically, yes. Like I've had to go to Laos a few times to get new visas for Thailand,
Okay.
and I always learn a few basic phrases before I go there, and they're basically the same as Thai, except some of the consonants and vowels and tones will be different, but the same structure will basically be there. Um, so, for example, in Thai, if you want to ask, "How are you?" you would ask like, "Sabai di mai?" Whereas in Lao, you would ask, "Sabai di bo?" Whereas they use bo instead of mai. So there's just different words, but a lot of the language overall is very similar because they come from the same language families.
Interesting.
Um, Also, my wife is from the northeast of Thailand, which is on the border of Laos. So the people there are mostly ethnically Lao. So
Really
They're Thai, but ethnically Lao for the most part. And the language is also special. It's kind of like a mix between Thai and Lao.
interesting. That's awesome. I would like to visit. some time. Thailand, of course. Angkor Wat, right? Is in Thailand.
That is in Cambodia, but
Oh,
we have Ayutthaya in Thailand, which is, quite similar. It's a very large ancient city that was kind of, mostly destroyed by the Burmese, but, very, very beautiful place to go.
gotcha. Siem Reap, right? Cambodia, Siem Reap.
Yeah, that's also Cambodia.
Uh,
Highly recommend Thailand.
yeah,
Yeah, it's a really I think one of the reasons I liked it is that it's just easy. Like, most things are pretty easy to do there, like getting around, finding things, if you need help with something, it's not a scary or intimidating place. Um, it might look like it at first
yeah,
because
for
there's lots
sure.
of motorcycles, lots of cars, lots of stuff happening, stuff being cooked everywhere, but, it's a really easy, relaxing place. Um, okay. Qatar Simand asked, "Sorry, could someone please tell me what awkward means?" Um, so we talked about awkward silence. I'll give a little explanation, and you can add something if you want to. I would say that awkward is basically you feel uncomfortable, but not physically uncomfortable, but like socially uncomfortable. You're worried that you did something that makes other people think that you are stupid, or maybe you think that you did something that is going to make people angry. So now you feel like, I don't know, kind of like that. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I have a couple examples of what could be an awkward situation. So let's say you meet a friend maybe who's a woman for the first time in a long time. And you say, "Oh my goodness, you're pregnant. When are you due?" And the woman is not actually pregnant. That could be a very awkward situation. Or maybe if you ask how somebody's parents are, "Hey, how's your dad?" He passed away last year. Those I think are examples of yeah, the face you just made is like exactly what someone would do in an awkward situation.
Yeah, so, I'm glad you added that part because, you explained awkward situations, whereas I focused more on it being an emotion. So, yeah, you can feel really awkward, but you can also say that a situation is awkward. Yeah.
Been there many times. Somebody has a question about I would love to hear your opinion on this because I get this quite a bit, but how can I learn to speak fast?
Um, I I I think I've made a video or 2 about this, and,
Think so. Yeah, I think I've seen your video, which is why I asked. I think you have a great explanation about this.
thank you. So I'll explain a little bit. I would say that I don't always know what you mean when you say, "How can I learn to speak fast?" What do you mean? Do you mean that the ideas come into your head quickly so that you can say them naturally without thinking too much? Or do you mean that you want to speak like, "Hello, my name is Mike. I'm from the United States." Um, because you don't want to do that second one. That second one is bad. Um, Native English speakers pay people a lot of money to teach them how to speak slower, because to be an effective communicator, to get people to understand you and listen to you, you actually need to learn to speak slower than you normally do in conversation. So the speed that I'm speaking right now, this isn't even like really slow. This is pretty normal for a presentation. When you're presenting information, you want to speak clearly. And I would also say that as you are an English learner, your goal should not be to impress people with how quickly you speak. If you want to, you are allowed to have any goals that you want. I'm not telling you that that's wrong, but what I'm telling you is that for me, when I'm learning a language, My goal is that people understand me easily and speak a little bit slower, and that happens a little bit more often. What do you think about it? Is that
Yeah,
what you expected me to say, or
absolutely. Yeah, I'll use the term overrated. It's just speaking quickly is like you said, if it's a goal of yours, great. But a lot of times we will say, especially teenagers, like, whoa, slow down. It's not great to speak fast sometimes. So, yeah, don't worry. I would say focus on being really clear. And if you have to slow down a little bit, then do that. There's no shame in speaking clearly and in fact, if you listen to any public speakers, they will say there is great power in speaking slowly, getting used to those kind of pauses. We might call it a pregnant pause in English, but yeah, it's overrated speaking quickly.
like the way that we are speaking right now is it's a little bit slower than if the two of us were having a conversation in real life in private. Um, But that's not just because you are English learners. We're not speaking slowly just because you are learning English. We're speaking slowly because we're being careful about the things that we say so we can say them in the best possible way to help you the most and to make sure that we understand each other and to make sure that we don't say anything really more stupid than the things that we've already said.
Right.
Um, so, yes, speaking like, the way that we are speaking right now, this is what I just noticed this yesterday. I've been listening to an audiobook, and
Mm,
they don't speak faster than I do. They're speaking exactly the same way that I speak right now, maybe even slower,
mhm.
um, because the goal is for you to understand what they are saying.
Absolutely. I believe you got another super chat. Freddie Wolf. Freddie Wolf from France.
And yeah, you guys, thank you for the super chats. Thank you very much. And if you're trying to send them to Brent, here's the thing: is I think they're going to me. Um, so if you specifically want to send things to Brent and not to me, maybe you don't like me,
Ah,
go over to his channel and find another video to send them on so that you're not sending me money that you want to send to him.
it's very, very generous. Very generous.
So I don't want someone to like be like, here's $20 for Brent, and then they send it to me, and I'm like, oh no.
No, I'm sure that's not the case. But hey, thank you so much for inviting me. So that's a cool thing.
Yeah, how long are we doing this? Should we do another, I don't know, how busy are you? I don't have any plans, I'm happy talking, but I don't know, you've got, I think you've got kids, you've got a wife, it's also you have a real job, so,
I got another at least like 20 minutes. How about that? Is that too long for you?
let's do 15.
Okay, perfect. Almost
So
in the
we'll say
middle.
we'll be here for the next, or I guess the next 17 minutes. So we'll stop at, hour, 10, 15.
Perfect. Sounds
We'll see
great.
where it goes. Just
Yeah,
making sure that I'm not, like, accidentally holding you in here
no,
and forcing you to stay.
no, it's all good. Love it. And like and we've talked privately, like hopefully in the near future you can hop over to my channel. We could make this a semi-regular thing a couple times a year or so. I think it would be great. It's
Yeah.
always more fun when there are two teachers on screen.
It's also a little bit less stressful because, I mean, if I don't know what to say for a minute, you've got something to say. And if we have to, a lot of the times doing a live video, I feel like I'm just looking for something in the comments. I'm like, what am I going to reply to? And I'm not saying anything. So it's boring for everyone during that time. Whereas this way it works pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely. And Selma says that she likes us both, which means a lot.
I see Abdikafi Mohammed asked, is it the same cringe and awkward?
It's a great
I
question.
tend to use cringe instead of awkward. So what would you say about cringe and awkward?
Yeah, I would say that they are almost the same. When I was younger, the word cringe really didn't exist. And so it's become popular in the US for the last maybe 5 years. Like, I love that word cringe. And then you can use it as an adjective, like, oh, that was cringy. So I think they're pretty much the same. Pretty much the same. I don't know. Maybe cringe has a little bit more weight to it. Um,
Yeah, I think you're right that cringe is a little bit stronger in that it's like, "Ugh, you said that? I don't like that. That makes me uncomfortable. I don't like the way that you said that. That was weird and bad."
yeah.
Um, Also, cringe is slang.
Hmm.
Awkward is the real word that we use to describe a kind of uncomfortable situation. Cringe is a much more recent kind of slang word. You wouldn't write in a report for work, "This happened and it was cringe." Um, I don't think I would write that with awkward either, but
Yeah, and I don't. I'm hesitant to say this kind of example, but there are some like creepy and cringe are probably closer than awkward. Awkward is sometimes like a mistake, like you accidentally did it. And with cringe, there's a little more intent. Like there's a little bit more like maybe meanness to it, or almost like slightly illegal when you
yeah,
talk about
it's
cringe.
if something is cringe, it's more, inappropriate.
Yeah.
Maybe someone says something that is sexist or
Yes.
racist or something that makes you feel like, "Ugh, maybe this is a bad person. I'm not sure, but I feel uncomfortable now." Cringe is more like that, yeah.
Yeah. I had to think about that for a second because they're not quite the same.
If you forget your friend's name, that's awkward. "Oh, sorry, I don't remember your name. Oh my gosh, it's so awkward." But it's not cringe because you didn't say anything bad.
Yeah. Maybe we should do a lesson. Maybe you can do a lesson on that or I will. But the difference between cringe and awkward, it's very subtle difference, but it's there.
Freddie Wolf, how many hours difference? What's the time difference between you and me? There isn't a time difference, is there?
No, I think we're both on Eastern Standard Time, right?
Yep.
Yep. All right. Filippo
Which
has
sorry, go ahead.
no, well, it is your channel though, but Filippo has question really big. He says, when I listen to Brent's podcast, ooh, I speed it up to 1.5. I think that this way my comprehension skills will improve. Is that wrong? No, my first thought is that's awesome. If you can do that, you can listen to more podcasts and you'll have more time on your hands. And if you're not missing out on the comprehension, that's perfect.
Yeah, I would like to add that when you're learning a language, if you do something that makes it more challenging, it's probably never wrong. It's always good to make things more challenging, unless you make them too challenging and you can't learn anything. When
100%.
I actually took a course recently, it was like a 30-day course about, building your YouTube channel, and I listened to everything on 200% speed.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, and I'd seen something earlier which said that when you use captions or subtitles
Mm-hmm.
while listening to something, you remember the information better. And I don't recommend doing that all the time for language learning. In fact, for language learning, I recommend that people turn off the subtitles so that you can really practice listening. But when your goal is simply to learn information really fast, especially if it's you don't care about learning the language, you just want the knowledge. If you put on captions, you can what's the word? You can learn the information, you can absorb the information more easily. So I just turned on the captions and did 200% speed, and that was really useful for me.
That's awesome. Do you mind? Maybe we can talk about it off camera. But who was that course with?
What's his name?
Daryl.
Tim
Oh, Tim
something.
Schmoyer. Tim
Yeah,
Schmoyer.
Tim Schmoyer.
Yeah, awesome.
It was, I feel like I learned some good stuff from it.
Looking through the chat here.
Yeah, same.
So many nice compliments for both of us. I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, like, I really, like I can't explain how nice it is to always get so many nice comments from everyone. I really appreciate it. It really makes us happy every day, and I feel bad, because I don't know exactly how many you get, but on the average day across my YouTube, my Instagram, my Facebook, and everything, I get somewhere from, like, 400 to 3,000 comments every day.
Wow.
And
No,
you can't read those. You can't
no.
read all of them. I try my best. I usually spend a couple hours reading them each day, but, at the end of the day, I have to do the thing that helps people the most, and what helps people the most is when I spend more of my time creating videos and less of my time replying to comments. So just so you guys know, we see all of your comments, but it's really difficult to reply to all of them, even though we would love to.
Yeah, I think you're about like 10 times bigger than I am across the board. So I'm getting to that point where I can just kind of star or heart the comments or like the comments, but I'm still able to read every one. I used to be able to reply saying the person's name. I thought that was really, just showing them that I really cared, but it's just, yeah, it's hard. So I can imagine with you 10 times, it's no, it's just impossible. But
Yeah, it's frustrating.
and I'll sometimes go into my hidden comments, just like, come on, there's got to be some mean people out there, right? It's just so rare. I think if you decide to learn another language, if you decide to take that risk, I think just you're a nicer person than the average person. So I think we're very lucky in that way.
I really do, yeah, like, the I never get, like, mean comments from my followers. I get things like, "I would like you to smile more," and that's fair. That's a fair thing to say. Lots of people want a teacher who smiles more than I do, and that's fair. I don't think that's a negative comment. What I mean is that I don't get any comments like, "I hate you, you're a bad teacher." It's
Right.
always, "Thank you so much." So, yeah, we really appreciate you guys.
Yeah. I always think it's an honor if I would get a troll, but it's just so because that means you're growing and you're spreading out. But there's so many things that you could make fun of me. But people are very generous. They don't say, "Hey, you're you're losing your hair." Yeah, I have a mirror. I know that, but very few people have said that. But
If
hey, you
I
need to
if I
stop
don't
eating.
have good lighting, people tell me like, "Teacher, you need to sleep more. You look sick. You look tired. What's wrong with you?" And it's like, "No, I just have the overhead lights on, and it makes big shadows under my eyes because of the lighting." Like, people are used to seeing someone on YouTube or on Facebook who has a professional studio and good equipment. I don't. I'm recording on my phone, and I have some cheap lights that I bought on Amazon, so
One thing I've been using, and I love it because I am considerably older than you. I do have what's it called, Facetune, so you can put like a layer to get rid of some of these wrinkles. So that might be a good investment. I think it's like $50 a year. I'm
okay.
hoping that they will add hair eventually, but at this point, there's nothing I can do about that. I
Um,
saw Arone. He is a long time. I actually knew him. Oh, I met him. But he's not. I knew him before I had the channel, and he came to visit me last year.
oh, cool.
So yeah, so not really a follower, but
Um, if we go back to negative comments for one moment, so
yeah,
you'll get this, have you had any videos that go, like, much more viral than your other videos?
yes,
So
they're
those
mostly
are
a
the
short.
ones
Yeah,
those are the ones where you're going to get negative comments
yeah.
because your videos are going to get shown to people who are not your audience. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, when I do YouTube Shorts, I get so many comments like, "This is stupid. Shut up. I don't need to learn English."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah, well, stop watching videos that are created for English learners if you don't need to learn English." But, yeah, from our followers, no
Right.
negative comments. Wonderful, wonderful. We really appreciate all of you.
And there's one. I'll say there's one thing that I do in some of my shorts to try to get negative comments. Okay. And it's the first thing I say is like, I am an American English teacher in the United States. You wouldn't believe how many people say, "Oh, American English, that doesn't exist. You're a teacher of English." I love that. And like, we never say a teacher of English in the United States. It's just
No, I think that even in the UK, they don't really say that, I don't think. Um,
too many syllables.
yeah, it's because I mean, you don't say a teacher of math, you say a math teacher. Um, I posted about this a few days ago. If anyone's interested, I actually wrote a written post, that you can find. But yeah, we don't usually say that. So
No. And sometimes I will say jokingly, American English is the correct English. But I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
what's funny is that I did a video, I guess about a year ago, but I shared it again recently about I got 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 and gotten. And gotten is used in American English, but it's not used in British English anymore. So I was replying to some comments on there, and I do reply a bit strongly when people say things that are inappropriate or negative or just
Yeah.
rude, because I can tell that those people also aren't my followers.
Gotcha.
Um,
I've noticed that you can get a little salty sometimes. I like it. I like it when you're salty.
and I think also there's times where I just when you're replying to lots of comments, you don't always have time to say, "Thank you. That is a wonderful question. I would like to answer it for you. Here is this." So what you have to do is just give a short answer, and sometimes the short answers, when you try to make them sound nice, they can sometimes sound not nice.
Yeah. It happens.
But yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, gotten or gotten, American English, we say gotten for the third form of get, got, gotten. British English, they don't, but they used to in the past. They stopped doing it a couple hundred years ago.
Interesting. I didn't know that. Hey, Mega, shout out to Mega. She's from India. I know her. And how about whilst, right? We would never say that in the United States. I've seen that sometimes. Whilst or lay, and lane. I don't think I've ever said lane in my life. Have you?
I've started using them more correctly recently as I have learned about them in order to make videos about them. But
Interesting.
most native English speakers, I think, use them incorrectly.
I think so too. I think I use laid for just about everything. I laid the book on the table. I laid down in bed.
Because it should be for about lying down, it should be lie, lay, I think lane, lie, lay, lane. So right now I am lying in bed. Yesterday I lay in my bed. Um, a lot of people will say laid, but I think it should be lay. But
I
yeah,
say
we
laid all
don't
the time.
use these correctly all the time.
No. Do you think that somebody, if they used lay, lane wrong in a job interview, do you think that would cost them the job?
No, no.
No.
Not unless they are, like, applying for something like an English teacher position, and
Mm,
even then, if you're hiring an English teacher, you are someone who understands how native speakers
yeah,
use language, and you understand that native speakers don't always use language correctly.
exactly.
Yeah, I think that would be a stupid thing to not hire someone for,
Right.
especially if English is not their first language.
Exactly. Christiana says you guys look great. I love hearing that. Love hearing that. Ukraine is in the house.
People are asking what you meant about salty. What does salty mean?
It's a, how would we explain this? Just a little bit of an edge. Where it's not mean and it's not angry. It's just on the edge of that.
Like very, very, very little bit annoyed.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it. Oh, salty. Some people might be salty if they're too tired. And it's not even a bad mood, really, right? Teenagers can be salty.
It's just you have a little bit of an attitude, or maybe you're a little bit impatient, quick to say something to someone. You're not angry, you don't dislike them, but you're just a little bit, I'm going to say this.
Yeah. And sometimes it's a good, I respect people who are salty every so often, you know?
Let's see. Learn Thai with Air. Hello, teacher. Hello, Air. I see your comments on my other page. I have 2 pages. I have Teacher Mike English and Teacher Mike Thailand.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
so air comments or crew air, crew means teacher. Um, crew air comments on my Teacher Mike Thailand page every day. If anyone in Thailand is watching, again, I have 2 pages. I have Teacher Mike English. I also have Teacher Mike Thailand. Teacher Mike Thailand has more like daily phrases that I translate. So you have the English that we use and the Thai so that you can understand them quickly.
It's awesome. I believe you got another super chat, super sticker, Filippo.
Thank you for noticing. Filippo, thank you. Thank you once again. That's the second one. Thank you very much. I thought I saw something from Evelyn. Maybe not. Oh, Air says salty. In Thai, we say noi jai. Okay, yeah, yeah, good. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me. So I know that word, but I rarely use it. Now I'll remember that it's salty.
Very nice. Timur is asking, what's the meaning of gibberish? That's a pretty easy one we could answer, right? Yeah, just if somebody is speaking gibberish, they're not making any sense. Maybe because it's too hard, but maybe they're just not making any sense. So,
Yeah, and it might be words that are real words. It might also be some things that, like, you just can't understand. And like, huh? What are you it's gibberish. But yeah, often it is real words. It just what they're saying. I went to the bus station, ate apple books, saw a space car, drive, work, home, go. You're like, what? And it's not because they have bad grammar. It's just they're saying things that don't make sense. Maybe they have some type of problem.
or if somebody is just speaking too quickly and you can't understand them, it sounds like gibberish to you.
That's
It's a
true. Yeah, it can also sound like gibberish. Yeah,
it's a fun word to say, by the way, gibberish.
gibberish, gibberish. Yeah, that's is one of those words. What do you think? You just want to call it here?
Sure.
So you guys, we're gonna end for today. I wanna make sure everyone knows that both of us have YouTube channels and Facebook pages. So here, right here, you can see www.youtube.com/American English Guy. That is Brent's YouTube channel. Um, I'm also going to copy that and let's see, post it in the comments so that you can click on the link if you would like to.
I appreciate that.
You're
I just
welcome.
noticed my name for Facebook and YouTube are different. That's probably why the confusion, right? I think it is American English on Omron also left another super chat here. Super sticker.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And here now, for anyone who doesn't know, I also have a YouTube channel. This is my YouTube. And likewise, I will post it in the comments so that you can click on it. But yeah, we've both got YouTube and Facebook. So for anyone who is interested in seeing us more regularly, please don't forget to check out both Facebook and YouTube for both of us. Brent, any final stuff you want to say to everybody?
I just can't thank you enough for inviting me onto your social media. I had an amazing time. I think if we do it again, that will be a good thing. So be on the lookout for that in the future, maybe around the holidays or something if it's not too busy. maybe you can come on to my channel or whatever, and maybe within the next couple years I'll find myself in Maryland. If you want. I mean, feel free on air, feel free to say no, I don't want you to come.
Again, yeah, that would be great, and, yeah,
Okay. And
definitely not hiding any feelings here.
once
Yeah,
we get off the air, if you want to tell me the real thing, that's fine. It's fine. I've been told not to show up places before, so it's good. It's all good.
and yeah, it's been my pleasure having you. I think, yeah, this has been a lot of fun for me. I think our audiences have liked it, and, yeah, we'll definitely do some more of these. I've enjoyed talking to you, getting to know you, and, yeah, we can talk a little bit more off air afterwards if you want.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, everybody, goodbye. We will see you again soon.